Hello, my name is Reverend Andrew Bellows, and I'm the pastor at Calvary Baptist Church in Wetaskiwin, Alberta. And today we're going to be talking about the QU32 Soundboard from Allen and Heath. This is a digital soundboard, which means that it has a few differences in how it operates from a traditional analog soundboard. And we're going to go through some of those differences today. First of all, we're going to look at the layout of the board and see where things are. First of all, here you'll notice a bank of 32 faders, and these 32 faders control individual channels. And so each individual input is given its own volume control here with the fader. You'll notice that there is a mute button, a select button, a baffle button, which allows you to isolate the channel in the headphones to be able to listen just to that channel. There are 3 meter lights, which allow you to see if the channel is peaking or if there's any sound coming through the channel at all. And then you have your layer selection and the fader. And that's repeated all the way across on each of the 32 faders, and then the master fader over here. Up at the top, you've got a place where you can put a phone or a tablet to be able to make use of that. You can put meters on there so that you can see what's happening with each individual channel in terms of level, or a number of different ways of making use of that. Then over here, we've got what's called the superstrip. Now you'll notice that there are limited controls on each of the channels. And that's because this one bank of controls can be applied to any individual channel simply by selecting the select button. And so once a channel is selected, then these controls, once we turn them, are capable of controlling this one specific channel. But the same bank of controls, if we select the next channel over, you'll see that the lights change and things shift around as I select one channel versus the other, because this group of channels is selectable to any of these individual channels. And that allows us to have great control over EQ, preamp, high-pass filter, gate, compression, GEQ, and pan. And so with this one bank of controls, we can have great control over each individual channel without duplicating each of those controls and creating more cost to build the soundboard, because you'd need to put one of these on every single channel. When you select the channel, all of these now have control over this channel, and the same with the display here. This is a touchscreen display, so I can select various things on it and have control over what's happening for each individual channel. And so you might notice that as I select different channels, the display changes to represent the settings on the superstrip. Then over here we have a number of buttons that control basic functions. We've got processing, which means that we're going to see the EQ settings and the gain settings and various settings for how the channel is set up. But if I select routing, then it gives us options for how this particular channel is to be routed, to group sends, to effect sends, to mix sends, and we can have control over where the channel is sent by where it is routed to, where it is sent to. Then we've got our home button, which gives us control over some basic settings. We have effects, which allows us to set up our 4 effects channels, which can be applied to any of the channels on the board. We've got scenes, which allows us to save and store information to be recalled quickly. And we've got setup, which allows us to have control over a number of different basic items for how the board is set up. And then over here we've got our master dial. And so if I select something on the touch screen, I can then adjust whatever I've touched with the master dial. So if I want to select something different, then this dial follows whatever I select. And whenever I select something, I can adjust that thing. And then if I select this thing, then I can adjust that thing. So over here, we've got copy, paste, and reset. And so if I want to take the settings from one channel and apply them to another channel, I hold down the copy button and press select on the channel that I want to copy from. And then I hold down the paste button and I select the channel that I want to paste to. So if I've got two different channels that I want to be identical, I copy from one and paste to the other by use of the copy and paste buttons and the select buttons on the various channels that I want to use. Or I can hold down the reset button and press a channel select and reset that channel back to factory standard. And so if I quickly want to remove a whole bunch of settings, I hold down the reset and press the select buttons on all the channels that I want to reset. Over here we've got our master fader, which currently is set to left-right, which is the main speakers that the people in the congregation hear. And then of course I've got mute, select, and baffle for this fader as well. But I don't need to be satisfied just with the left-right. I can look at other outputs that are available. For example, our monitors are on channel mix 1. This fader a moment ago controlled the level of sound coming out of the main speakers, but it no longer does. Now it controls the volume level coming out of our stage monitors, which are on mix 1, or mix 2, which is our other set of stage monitors, or my in-ear monitors. I can select which output this entire bank of faders controls. So here you see the faders move to reflect what's coming out of the main speakers. Now they represent what comes out of the monitor speakers, the other monitor, and my in-ear monitors. And so this bank of faders can control multiple different outputs. And so it's important that when you are making changes to the board, you are aware of what is currently selected. And we have the same options with inputs. You see over here that on our layers, the channel layers are selected, which means that the inputs on the back of the board, 1, 2, 3, 4, are represented 1, 2, 3, 4 on the faders, going to the main left-right output. But if I select the upper layer, you will notice that the upper bank of lights comes up, and they're not all yellow. Some of them are yellow because they represent inputs. Some of them are blue, and some of them are red. The red are DCAs, digital control amplifiers, and the blue are other sorts of channels. Here we've got our mixes, which are represented in blue because they are outputs, not inputs. And here we've got our FX sends, which are outputting from channels, sending information to one of the effects to later be returned. And so by understanding our mixes, where we're sending to, and our layers, where we're accepting from, we can understand our inputs and our outputs, and we can send from a variety of inputs to a variety of outputs. And so it's important to know what layer you are on, whether the lower layer, which is the channels, the upper layer, which is the alternates, or by pressing both of them together, we can use the custom layer, which can be any combination of lower inputs and upper inputs, and so we can customize exactly what we want. And some of our inputs, which are over here or over here, simply because of where the physical input is up on the stage, we can reassign those to any fader that we want. So if we want these vocal mics over here to be here, we simply go into our setup to control, and we can adjust which channel each fader is using our master. So here I've selected channel 1 to be on this fader, and you notice the fader comes right up. But if I turn it back down to X, it goes back down to the bottom. So in this way, we can build a custom layer that's exactly what we want to see. So as you are getting familiar with the soundboard, it's important that you know all of the various inputs and outputs that are available, how to change your layer to be able to control where your inputs are coming from and know that what you're seeing is the individual channels or the upper layer with a larger variety of inputs, or the custom layer with specifically the arrangement of channels that you want to have in the order that you want them. It's important to know about the superstrip, which allows you to select a channel and fine-tune the audio coming through it. You need to know about the touch screen and the various ways in which you can make changes there. These buttons here, which allow you to enter into various screens on the touch screen. Your mixes, which allow you to control where you're sending to, and I haven't mentioned yet our soft buttons, which can be programmed to do particular things, and our overall meters and the output for the headphones, plus USB and 1/8" inputs for putting in an iPod or something like that. Knowing the layout of the board and what is very important to be able to effectively run sound. I hope that this was useful to you, and there will be further videos on more specific functions of this board. Thanks so much. Have a great day. God bless.